Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of what I've seen lately. And as promised in the last what I've seen lately series, we're gonna be doing a Halloween special. So we're gonna be doing a whole week dedicated to scary movies or movies that are within the horror genre, specific ones. Um, and of course, the criteria only has to be that I haven't seen them. And one of these is a Stephen King based Carrie, which was directed by Brian De Palma, who will go on to do Scarface with Al Pacino. Released in 1976, starring Sissy Spacek, I believe that's how you say her name, as well as John Travolta. Um, Oddly enough, Sissy Spacek will actually go on to do another Stephen King based film in Misery, I believe. I believe Misery is a Stephen King based thing. Um, but Carrie revolves around Carrie White, who is a very shy and very isolated schoolgirl. She's harassed. She's mistreated. She's not she's not looked at as a respected individual. People just torment her, say a bunch of nasty things, and the prom is on the horizon. And just getting my notes once again. Um, Prom is on the horizon, and uh, we see throughout the film people, the bullies, essentially, trying to get back at her for causing a certain disturbance. Um, and she gets invited to the prom by one of these guys, and the story then goes from there. Um, so I was familiar with just how the story of Carrie ends, so it wasn't a shock to see how things unfolded in the film. Um, but what I found to be, I would say, um, a bit disappointing um, is the approach that's taken. It's very heavy-handed and very um, much too relying of it. It doesn't have much subtleties or much room for real tension to build. Because it also relies so much on like technicalities as well, like music um, and like a emphasis on its themes, and it hopes that in doing so it will like it's trying to build resonance with the knowledge of the message. But the problem for me is that I think that the overall story, I think, works more if I were to fall into the message of the movie, which ultimately is a false sense of security and that consequence to add to that absence of kindness and love. um like I would have liked it if the film had duped me into that mindset as well, where you're just kind of falling into this whole sort of thing like, oh my god, like, yeah, she's found somebody, yes, this and that, and then the end happens, versus having all of that knowledge and having the end results. um and it feels made for television. Like the overall like quality of the production feels like it's made for television. And I checked real quick. It, as far as I can tell, it was made as a film, but there's a TV rating that I just saw rated somewhere, so I'm not entirely sure if it was made for television or not. But it has that sort of quality to it where it's made for television. Not to say that it's bad, but it's just to say that it's noticeable. It has that sort of mentality. Um, and speaking of mentalities, um, the thing that I found the most disturbing about Carrie is a lot to do with its lenses, um, and how Brian De Palma shoots his movie. Um, there's something oddly pleasurable in how it hates on its main character. I think it takes too much of a pleasure in that, and because they really grill that point that everybody hates her, everybody doesn't understand her. They really press that point quite a bit, and think that a little bit more room for, for acceptance. Like there's a character in the film that does, you know, that does sympathize with her, but we don't get enough time with her. So, um, like, stuff like that I wish was expanded upon. Um, and for another, there's a there's a lot of shots of women, particularly like lots of. I don't know how old these girls are. Like, I don't know how old these girls are. I hope they're of age, but they're like there's a lot of shots of them specifically in the opening where they're all naked and um like I don't know if I'm ready to call it misogynistic, but it just feels like it's like kind of showing these sort of things for its own purpose, for a certain level of self-indulgence. Like there's shots of people's breast and legs and nipples. It's like, it'd be different if there was some kind of commentary being made there. But it's I don't see it. It's just, again, I think just out of self-interest and just some kind of fetish. I don't know. Um, but I think that you get a great central performance out of Sissy Spacek. Like that's really where the heart of the film comes from. I think that you really fall into her character because she really grounds herself in that shy and awkward, like persona, and it works. Like she is very convincing in that space. Um, but I think that the problem for me was that it's a film that's all too knowing, and I know that that's the point to a certain respect because it's trying to build a more resonant side of things rather than an air of mystery or an air of like uncertainty. But I think that because of how the finale plays, I think that knowing so much undermines what we get in the climax. Um, so yeah. I mean, I think that I think there's a good performance there. Um, I think that there is some interest to be had um, by just the basic nature of it that it has. Like it's very self-contained, um, and I think also like some of the technicalities are a little questionable. Like the music feels like at times it's ripping from like Psycho, and then the lenses, like the literal filmmaking itself. Like I don't know what's with the foggy lenses. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but sometimes the lenses are like fogged out. Um, so, um, yeah. So I think that it's okay. I actually am more curious about. I know that there was a remake that was done in 2013, but um, I actually am curious to see another one with Mia Goth. I think that she would be perfect for this because every time that I was seeing um, this actress doing her thing, I just couldn't get Mia Goth out of my head. I know they did the one with Chloe Grace Mortez. I haven't seen that version. I've heard so things about it. Um, but I would honestly love to see. I mean, I guess we kind of got that in Pearl. Like I guess you can kind of call Pearl, Mia Goth's Carrie. Um, but that's just something that I just kind of, kind of thought of when watching the film. But yeah, it's not particularly scary. It's trying to do more of the emotional side of things, but I feel that it falls short because of how it sets itself up, and um, less of a knowledge of things I think would have really benefited um, the structure and created more of an impact. Because as it stands, I just found myself just you know you know knowing of it all and kind of waiting for the thing to happen versus having the intrigue, a heavy intrigue, throughout, because it's light more or less and very standard. And like I said, it feels like something that was made for television. It feels like something that was built within like a series, like a Twilight Zone type of episode, or like like a like a night of Stephen King, adaptations, and it's a television show, miniseries of sorts. And this is like an episode of sorts, because you could tell the story in like 30 minutes, 30 or 40 minutes. It's not something that needs to be expanded into an hour and a half. So, um, and also, I feel that it also, there's one more thing I just forgot to mention, is that I don't like that it sometimes dips into the tropiness of horror. Like the very, very end of the film, there's that like final like jump scare type thing, and that's purely for like just the like it's the Friday the 13th type moment, where when Freddy, right? Freddy, no, when Jason jumps out the water, like that very very last moment when Carrie grabs the good girl. It's like that makes no sense, because she's the innocent one. She's the one that actually gave a shit about Carrie. So to do that, it's like there's no reason for that to happen. It's just there for, just to get the final jolt, basically. So, um, so so um, there's like religious stuff there that just feels kind of tacked on as well. So, um, but yeah, I found it to be just just okay. And that's pretty much my thoughts on that. So, um, but yeah, so those are my thoughts on Carrie. You guys know your thoughts on Carrie. If you guys have seen it, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned tomorrow for our next review. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next review. And let me know if the 2013 one is good. I'm curious. Apparently there was a sequel to this one as well. So I don't know how that went. You guys let me know. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys tomorrow.